In a fiery and deeply polarizing congressional hearing that quickly erupted into one of the most explosive political spectacles of the year, Representative Jasmine Crockett of Texas delivered a blistering rebuke of the Department of Justice, its leadership, and the broader administration, igniting a confrontation that ricocheted across Capitol Hill and beyond, drawing in references to figures such as Donald Trump, Thomas Massie, Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Hakeem Jeffries, Pam Bondi, Eric Schmidt, Letitia James, and James Comey, transforming what began as a procedural exchange over unanimous consent into a dramatic clash over corruption, accountability, free speech, and the moral direction of the nation. The hearing opened with a formal request to introduce research into the record regarding right-wing domestic terrorism that had reportedly been removed from the Department of Justice website, a move that immediately framed the session as not merely legislative oversight, but a battle over narrative control and institutional integrity. And from there, the temperature only escalated as Crockett declared she would not question a witness whom she accused of refusing to answer inquiries, instead posing stark moral questions about child rape, random killings, and self-enrichment by a sitting president to a colleague in an effort to establish baseline ethical principles, before pivoting to an unflinching critique of what she characterized as the DOJ's abandonment of its core mission. She accused leadership of prioritizing the arrest of journalists over the prosecution of child predators, alleged retaliatory actions against media figures, referenced judicial rejections of attempted prosecutions, and argued that the department's stated goals of ending weaponization and restoring integrity had been inverted into what she described as politicized enforcement and selective obstruction, repeatedly asserting that the American public was seeking answers about corruption rather than partisan theatrics. The most combustible moment arrived when she invoked the name of Jeffrey Epstein, asserting that documented associations and references warranted scrutiny, while stopping short of direct criminal accusations and framing the issue as one of transparency and moral accountability, insisting that facts, however uncomfortable, must be confronted rather than buried, a line of argument that electrified supporters and outraged opponents in equal measure. She further alleged broader patterns of misconduct, ranging from interference in investigations to unconstitutional financial benefits, painting a sweeping portrait of systemic rot that she claimed history would judge harshly, concluding with a declaration that loyalty to the Constitution must supersede loyalty to any individual officeholder. The response from the other side of the dais was immediate and forceful, as former state attorney generals turned members of Congress defended the department and its leadership, criticizing what they labeled as grandstanding and deflection, pivoting instead to discussions of violent crime, immigration-related offenses, and their own records of prosecution, while the presiding chair struggled at times to maintain order amid interruptions and crosstalk that underscored the raw tension in the room. Observers noted that the exchange reflected a broader national divide over the role of federal law enforcement, the boundaries of congressional oversight, and the intersection of media, politics, and criminal justice, with supporters of Crockett praising her as a fearless advocate willing to confront powerful interests, and critics accusing her of inflammatory rhetoric that risked undermining institutional trust. Beyond the personalities, the hearing spotlighted fundamental questions about transparency in government records, prosecutorial discretion, freedom of the press, and the ethical expectations placed on public officials, all unfolding in a climate already charged by election year anxieties and lingering controversies from past investigations. Analysts suggested that the confrontation may reverberate far beyond the committee room, shaping campaign messaging, fundraising appeals, and public perceptions of both parties, while legal experts debated the implications of the specific claims raised, cautioning that allegations tied to sealed files and investigative notes often require careful contextual interpretation. Meanwhile, advocacy groups for survivors of abuse expressed appreciation for the acknowledgement of survivor language, even as they urged lawmakers to avoid politicizing trauma, emphasizing that accountability must be pursued with both rigor and responsibility. As clips of the exchange circulated widely online, drawing millions of views and sparking trending debates across platforms, the hearing became emblematic of a Congress grappling not only with policy disputes, but with deeper questions about truth, trust, and the limits of partisan combat, leaving many Americans to wonder whether such confrontations clarify the stakes of governance or further entrench divisions in an already fractured political landscape, and signaling that as investigations, counter-investigations, and election campaigns intensify, the struggle over narrative and accountability will remain at the forefront of the national conversation.